Good evening, everybody. Mike Vacchi, Princetontrader.com, here with tonight's evening webcast. Okay, looking back on Wednesday's trading, looking ahead for tomorrow. Our morning webcast, like it's been for 10 plus years, will be out morning usual time. We're adding this and a variety of other offerings in 2026. That's going to include everything from evening webcasts to group coaching to individual coaching. I'll be honest, my kids are grown up and they're almost out, and I've got more time on my hands than I did, say 5-10 years ago. And I want to fill it by helping all of you. So look out for all of that coming in January 2026. Let's talk about the tape. It was a day where the Bears really had an opportunity to try to get it done again. You had this 8:30, 9 o'clock, right into the open dump out from the top of the range that we discussed, right at that 50, 53, 54, 55 area, came all the way down into 17 half, 15, 17 area. We opened up, and this is VWAP here, and it sealed off. They brought it down and made a higher low. Unfortunately for the Bears, that was pretty much all she wrote. It was a nice little short. They tried to hold our proprietary moving average. They popped up over the top of that. And then they tested the daily pivot once and twice, converted our upper level in the process to support, and then really it spent the rest of the day bleeding to the upside up to 68.73.25. So, in looking at daily charts and hourly charts, where does this leave us? Daily chart. I'll zoom this. We've been talking about the consolidation here in this area. You can see they've peaked above it a little bit. Not really on a closing basis, though. They closed at 64.75. The high here is 63.5. 64 half, 63.75. So today's close on the futures, 64.75, right at the top of the range. You can see it peeking up above it a little bit. As we head into tomorrow, and we'll talk about this more in the morning, I will be very curious to see where we close relative to today's close. If you get a higher close, that's going to open up the ability to kind of, own that box, convert that box, that consolidation box, trading range, whatever you want to call it, and opens up the door for a bleed up to higher prices. So then you say, well, where are we going? Well, first and foremost, you have to look at 6,900. The high from November 12th at 6,900 half. That would be the first order of business. Beyond that, you start looking at the all-time high. But I don't want us to get ahead of ourselves. Right now, all we've done is trade up to the top end of the box and a little bit over, but not on a closing basis. On a closing basis, we're right there at what has been proven to be multi-day resistance. All right, hourly chart. So, we consolidate back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You can see that the down moves on an hourly basis have been pretty aggressive, right? That's a big old hourly candle. So's that. So's that. So is that, and really so is that. But each one of those candles has been saved, stick, save, and a beauty. And over time, they've taken it to little marginal higher highs, which is where we got left today, heading into the close. Hourly make band continues to be important. It'll be important overnight. It'll be important in the morning. But where this leaves me, and you got the weekly pivot way down here. It's just not interested. Where this leaves me, and we'll zoom this out one more, and you've got everything else, right? Everything we've been talking about morning and night as I do these videos. The 9-day, the 20-day, the 50-day, the weekly pivot, the monthly pivot, all of it. The 100-day. Because remember, we were dealing with the 100-day back here. All converted to support. Have not been tested for multiple days. not even close to being tested for multiple days. That, coupled with the way these snapbacks are being treated, until the bears flip the script on that price action, that stuff's support. That's why you're seeing higher highs. That's why the more likely scenario in all this is you get a little bit of a low velocity breakout towards the 6,900 area as we get later into the week. If you get a piece of news that the tape hates, there was some AI news this morning out of Microsoft, an article that then refuted later on. And it's curious to me that AI news, a news report, was going to do what that did in the half hour before the open, and it did. If we're going to get that tied specifically to that sector, it becomes very interesting long term as far as what happens when there's winners and losers in the AI space, just like there have been in every other space. .com, all of it. There's always winners and losers. It'd be interesting to see what happens when that space consolidates as far as the long-term ramifications on the index. But that's for another day. As long as those snapbacks get defended, and as long as the defense of those snapbacks results in higher highs, we are looking at a potential move to 6,900 absent some kind of news or economic data point that really ticks the market off. That's where we are. All right. Have a fantastic night. Trade them well. I'm back in the morning with the regular morning webcast. I hope you're enjoying these. Any feedback, always hit us up. Take care.